Hey, good morning, everybody. How are you today? Happy weekend. It is Saturday morning, Multifamily Unplugged. Welcome. Glad that you are here. And hey, if you are new to the show, if you're new to listening in, big shout out to you. Glad that you're here. Hope that you will gain a lot. I know today's conversation will be interesting, to say the least, and probably will give you some different insights on things. But here's my question for you this morning before we get started is, what are you working on? What are you working on right now in your life, business-wise, personal-wise? What is are you bringing to the forefront? Are you maybe trying to close a multifamily deal? Are you raising capital? Are you building new relationships? What are you doing? Are you educating yourself some more? You know, one of the things I've been talking about over the last week a lot is that education is only part of it, getting the education, but the accountability and taking action. Who's holding you accountable? Are you progressing? Are you on track to hit your goals? Are you ahead of your goals? Are you behind? What do you need to do? Well, if I can answer any questions or help, don't hesitate to reach out. You can find me on social media, anywhere you hang out. Like us, love us, subscribe, follow us, whatever you like to do. We're always bringing great content. If you're on YouTube this morning, smash that subscribe button, help out, and continue to be in front of good content. And if you're on Facebook, join our Facebook community at Multifamily Unplugged, and you'll always be kept abreast of new stuff, new information coming out, new courses that maybe I've recorded coming out, new guests going to be on in our live events that we do in Chicago. So glad you're here. If you grab your coffee, buckle up, because you're in for a ride this morning. I have a good friend of mine on, Michelle Kimbrough from Montana. We're going to try and figure out where Montana is this morning, but she's with Polaris Investment, and we're going to talk about how do you vet a sponsor. Somebody that you're going to invest passively with. How do you check them out? And a business partner. And that's probably the bigger conversation this morning is how do we evaluate people we're going to go into business with? Let's bring Michelle in. Hey, good morning.
Hey, how you doing? Thank you so much for having me on.
Hey, thanks for coming back. Must have been all right the last time, huh?
Yeah.
So where is Montana?
It's in a secret location
I think
in
so.
the United States, and we get a ton of snow, and it gets 30 below, and it's just awful here.
And you still have snow on the ground today?
No.
That's good.
Well, I'm up by Glacier National Park, and so there is some snow still up there.
Yeah.
They cleared the roads at the end of June, and I think somewhere around June 30th or so, they finally opened going to the Sun Road, which is the road that goes all the way through the park. So the snowpack stays for a minute.
Yeah, I guess. Hey, so Glacier National Park, do they still have glaciers there?
Yes, they do. They
Really?
do. Yeah, there's like 3 or 4.
So really, it's that's an area of the country I've really never been to. You know, I've been over to Seattle, in Washington, but I've never been to Montana or up in that area. So interesting. I'll have to come check it out.
Yes, please come. It's beautiful. And there's a reason why John Steinbeck in his book Travels with Charlie said that Montana was purely God's country. And out of all the states that he traveled, this is the one that had his heart, for sure.
You've only been there a few years, right? You haven't been there real long. Where'd you move from?
I'm embarrassed to say, but California.
Southern California, right?
Yes.
Yeah, from the valley.
Yes, I'm a California refugee.
So from the beach to the snow, how'd you put that together?
Well, it took several months of my dad and I, because I moved with my parents, putting criteria together of the things that we wanted. And we went through all of the states with our criteria, and we whittled it down to Idaho and Montana and Wyoming. And then we whittled it down a little bit more. And for me, as you know, I am an avid offshore sailor. I have over 10,000 miles. I've crossed the Pacific twice, and I've crewed all over the world. So for me, I had to be close to a body of water so I continue to sail, which I have here. Flathead Lake is the largest freshwater body, this side of the Mississippi. And my dad is a landscape artist. And so he wanted to spend the rest of his days painting Glacier National Park and Yosemite and all of these other things. So, and my mom, she just loved the trees. So, that checked all of our boxes, along with, we have no sales tax here.
I love that. No sales tax.
Yes. And I went from paying, 57% income tax between federal and the state of California, which was almost 17% personal income tax, to literally like hardly anything, because I think the personal income tax here is, I don't know, very low, like 6%. So it was huge.
Okay, good for you. Hey, so Michelle, I always start my show, I ask one question of all my guests, and I always say I'm going to write a book on this, right? But in one word, what best describes you personally and professionally?
Resilient.
Okay.
And my dad, he always says, he goes, you have 9+ lives as a human and as a cat, because he's seen me go through so many things in my life, both, personally and professionally. And he says, you are the strongest person next to Donald Trump that I know, and you always land right side up on your feet. And I've escaped death 4 times. And I think, my faith, there's a reason why I'm here. And, I wrestle with God every day trying to figure out what it is, but I am here for a purpose, and, to help educate and help people learn whatever space that it is. I'm a serial entrepreneur, so I've got a lot of information and a lot of stuff to sell, share with people. I'm also my parents' caregiver, so I've got a lot to share about that. So maybe that's why I'm here, but resilient.
Yeah, I love that. I love that, wrestling with God, So,
yeah.
I think until people get to a place in their life where they get wrecked by God, it doesn't make a lot of sense. So obviously you've been down that road. So.
Yep. As a matter of fact, yesterday I went an 8-mile hike in the middle of the wilderness with all of the bears and tigers and all that other stuff. And I was literally yelling at God as I was going on my hike. I don't know if there was anybody else around. They probably thought I was crazy, but I don't care. That's just how our conversation went yesterday.
Hey, so when you're out on those hikes like that, do you actually come across bear and moose and?
Yesterday I did not. I did see some bear scat, but it looked like it was kind of old. But when we've been up to Glacier, we've seen grizzlies eating in a berry patch. And I took my dad fishing one time, and there was a black bear that crossed the road. And there's a big herd of elk not too far from here. I've got deer and wild turkeys on my property every day. So yes, we do see a lot of wildlife here.
Yeah. That's cool.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I bet that's interesting. So,
yeah, much better than the concrete buildings that I'm used to from California.
Yeah. Hey, let's dive in. So, a couple of things we're going to talk about this morning are how do we vet a business partner? Maybe a team member, somebody we're working with, and same thing for sponsors. How do we? If I'm a passive investor and going to invest in an opportunity that you have, whether it be, in the energy space or real estate space, whatever, how do I vet that sponsor out? How do I make sure that, my capital is going to be safe and that nothing's going to happen?
Yeah, I think this is such an important topic, because what I have seen over the last couple of years is people just blindly, just throwing money at projects or people. They don't know the people. They don't understand the project. And that's kind of scary. And as we move into this new economic environment, I think even more so people need to, really delve into due diligence, not only on the project, because a lot of times that's what we all hear about mostly is you do your due diligence on the project, whatever it is, single family home, multifamily, industrial, whatever, do your due diligence on the project. But we oftentimes we leave out, the person that we're going to be investing with. And then on the operational side, we leave out, well, who are we partnering with? And so I think it's really important that we do that. And there's a lot that can be learned from it. It's not going to be 100% bulletproof, because it's kind of like when you're dating somebody. I have the 6-week rule, right? Everybody's on their best behavior for 6 weeks. Well, when, the doo-doo hits the fan is when you really discover who those people are and their real character comes out. And so you're not going to catch it all, but I think not jumping into something and taking the time and learning and studying the person, just like you would when you're learning about multifamily. You would do the same thing about your sponsor, and you do the same thing with the person that you're going to be getting into business with, regardless if it's investing, it could be starting up a restaurant, it could be starting up a clothing company, whatever it is. You need to understand who that person really is, because like I said, when the rubber meets the pavement, you need to know who you're working with, and I only want 8 people in my corner. I want the people that, if we're going to go to war, are going to stand by my side and not unravel and, go off and do their own thing. So I think it's important.
So that's a really good point, because I like what you said. If we're going to go to war, I want somebody who's going to stand by my side. So, I think, when things get really tough is when you really find the true character of people, and my story. And, I had a partner who I was friends with. We were friends for 25 years. He had lost his job, came to work for me. I taught him how to do real estate. He made a boatload of money selling real estate. And then we went in the apartment business, and he turned his back on me. So, we were friends. We did things together. Our families vacationed together. We hung out. And then all of a sudden, when things got really tough and he turned his back, I don't know that you ever see that coming from somebody.
Yeah, I think, like in that situation, being friends with somebody, that's a different relationship. It's not a business relationship, right? And so the 20-year friendship was something completely different. But I think, business and especially money changes people.
Hmm.
And, when you're in business, you become very vulnerable. I like I said, I'm a serial entrepreneur, and I have walked some walks. And I always tell people, I just did a post not too long ago about the unsexy side of business, because it's not all puppy dogs and ice cream and rainbow and, oh, you're so lucky you get to own your own business. Luck has nothing to do with it. And there are a lot of things that you walk through. And so, it's great if you have somebody that's a friend and you want to go into business, kind of like in high school. Oh, let's start a band. You remember that? Everybody wanted to start a band.
I was in one.
Yeah, everybody wants to start a band. So, that relationship is different. And, again, I don't think even if you do all of your due diligence and then some, that you're going to catch those things, because it's under pressure where you see people. But, there are some steps and things that you can do. And I also think not jumping into a relationship with somebody, a month or a few weeks or a couple months after, but, having those crucial conversations and seeing how they put deals together and how the deals went. And, whatever you can do. And for me, at least a year, I have to know somebody before I'm going to jump into a situation like that. Because like you, I've been burned too. And I have chosen to learn from that. And, I don't want to be from reaction, and excitement of, yeah, let's go start a band. And then all of a sudden you find out, oh, you really can't play the guitar, or you know what, you can't sing at all. You're off key. So yeah, but I do think that there are steps and things that you can do, and get in the business of studying people and asking questions.
It's funny. I have I did a deal a couple of years ago with a couple of partners, and two of us looked at each other and said, we really have no interest in doing anything with our third partner again. Just because the change in values and who they became. I love your 6-week rule, right? And just kind of decided to go do something else. But that other partner and I have continued to have conversations and develop a deeper relationship, and really get to know each other more. And we lean on each other, and we can work well. We work well together. She knows my strengths. I know her strengths. And she asks for stuff. I ask for stuff, and it clicks. It works, right? And I think there's. So let me ask you this: what about values? What if you're going to look for a partner today, somebody to do business with? What values do you want to see in that individual?
Yeah, that's a great question. So for me, what is their moral compass, right? So for me, I'm a God-fearing patriot. God comes first before anything. I believe in the Constitution, and I will stand on the Constitution. I know that may be not popular today, but I do believe in the Constitution. So I think those two things are important to me. But then also, I look at things like their character. Do they talk about other people in an ill manner? Because I tend not to associate myself with people like that, because it says a lot about their character and also their morals and their values. I'm a very open book. If you have something to say to me, just tell me. I'm very approachable. I'm a big girl. You don't need to go around talking to 50 other people and spreading rumors. So that's usually a red flag for me. And then where they spend their time is important to me as well. If they have families, are they dedicated to their families? Are they constantly learning about whatever and expanding their skill set? So I think there's a lot around morals and values, and integrity is huge to me too, right? And trust but validate everything. Because in today's informational age and social media, in the speed of information that we get, we grew up in a time where rumors in school and stuff spread quickly, but now they spread at even an exponential speed.
Yeah.
And I think you have to be extra careful. So I look at multi levels. I look at a personal level, and then I look at a business level. Are people growing, or are they staying stagnant? Are they willing to get out in front of stuff, or are they the person that wants to take the back seat and let everybody else get, the brunt of it? So I look at things from many different levels, as far as values.
Yeah. How about give me a couple of qualities. I think values and qualities are two different things in people, right? I love that moral compass, comment you made. But what about qualities? What do people need to have quality wise about them?
Yeah, I think they need to be approachable and open-minded. So not coming at it from an angle that they know it all, but there could possibly be other things that they could consider. So I like working with people that have open minds and that are willing to look at different viewpoints rather than just, draw in the sand, this is how it is and it's no other way. So I think that's a good quality there. I like to deal with people that are friendly. When we need to do business, we need to do business, but we should be warm and approachable to anybody and available too. And I think another quality that is good is a good communicator, right? I like to get on the phone with people, you know that. Sending text messages, sometimes you can lose the tone or the meaning behind it. So people that are good communicators and that can ask for help, that they're just not, on a lone island suffering. And you gave a great example about your partner, how, you click. She needs something, she asks. And if you need something, she asks. And so I think having that collaboration is another key trait that I look for.
Yeah. I like that open-minded thing. I think that's so important. I like to hire people in my business today that are younger than me, right? Because I think they have different ideas, different conceptual thoughts about how things should be done or how things get done, and I'm receptive to that. Where I know other people my age that are like, no way, I know how to do this, and don't worry about it. But here again, I think it's some of that you learn by, maybe the challenges you had along the way.
Yeah, sure. And, to add to that, I think having people in your sphere, whether it be business, personal, whatever, that are different ages, different backgrounds, different income, levels, because there's something to learn from everybody. And so you can only do that if you approach it from the openness and open mind to learn, and you look at things as learning opportunities and not, oh, they don't have anything I could use, and discredit people, because I think you can learn something from everybody. And even bad situations, when I encounter a bad situation, it's not a failure, because there are no failures in my life. There's just opportunities to learn. And so I think reframing your mind to look at it as not a failure, but what's the lesson out of that I can learn and apply it to the future things. And I think you can do the same thing with people. So I love it that you hire people younger than you. I do that oftentimes too, because, I have a skill set. I'm not in the business to learn, new skill sets with social media and all this other stuff and marketing. So there's other people out there that do it better than me. And,
Right.
That's the other thing too. I want to get in the room with people that are better than me, that are going to challenge me. So I think coming around, like you said, with the different ages and types and groups of people, the people, if you hang out with mediocre people, well, you're going to be mediocre.
Yeah. It's like my VA Rain, I mean, sometimes I just say, hey, handle it, just do it, because I might not know how to do it, but I try and figure it out. But, she's got a handle on, things that people want to see or want to hear, or, and can structure things right. So it's helpful, right, when it comes to marketing and that. So it's cool. But it's like you and I, you and I met on LinkedIn probably a year and a half ago now.
Yeah, about that. Yeah.
And we've continued to get to know each other. We've continued to have conversations. We've shared podcast space, and we're probably fixing to do some business together here at some point. So I think that, again, it's that developing a relationship. How about from a standpoint of, if you were going to invest into somebody's private offering and be a limited partner, be a passive investor, what are you going to look at in the qualities? Are you going to look at the deal, or are you going to look at the sponsor, the people running the deal, or is it a combination of both?
Well, that's a great question. I'm going to do both, right? Because I think as an investor, you can trust the sponsor that's putting the deal together, but it's kind of like the leader that doesn't know the business. Everybody else is doing it. So I think there's a lot of value in learning the deal, working the numbers, making sure that they pencil out and that you understand it. Because again, I've seen a lot of people throw money at stuff and they don't even know what they're throwing money at. Hopium. I don't, can we talk about Bitcoin here? But I don't know where you are with that. But like, if you look at the analytics behind it, a lot of people threw a lot of money at it when it was north of $60,000. And what is it trading at today? Is it going to go back up? We don't know. It's not even backed by anything. So, that makes me a little leery. It's another form of fiat currency. But I'm going to look at both. So I'm going to look at the deal. Does it pencil out? Do I understand the deal? And then I'm going to look at the sponsors, right? So some things I'm going to look at the sponsors is one, I want a relationship with that sponsor. In what we're doing, in this space of raising capital, syndications and taking people's money, it's a little bit different than going to the car lot and buying a car, right? So I want to know, is that person trustworthy? Are they wavering in anything that they're doing? I'm going to do background checks on them. What do they have in their past that I need to know about? Is there anything there that's important? I'm going to look at their social media pages. How are they representing themselves on, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, all of those things, because you can look at somebody and see how they're, presenting themselves. They may be professional on LinkedIn, but then you go to Facebook and, they're drunk, passed out, and, everything else. I mean, once in a while, I guess that's okay. But, if you see trends, I look for trends, and that's, probably my analytical brain, but looking for those trends, right? And then I'm going to want to know what is the value of the deal? What am I getting? What are they getting? I want to understand both structure. And if anything is hidden, then, that might be a cue that maybe that's not the person for me, So yeah, I think I'm going to look at both of it, but I think the relationship is the biggest thing. I really want to know that person and how they operate, and do they waver in anything that they say, or their integrity, or things that they put out, or the different social media spaces.
So let me, I'm sitting here thinking about this, and I know that I should be listening more to you, and not formulating a question, but this is really kind of like has come up in what you've said. So if you continually mentioned, I want to have a relationship with them, but if you are a new investor looking at a deal because you saw it on social media or an ad somewhere and decided that this is where you want to be, how do you in a short period of time develop a relationship, or better yet, as a sponsor? So you being a sponsor raising capital, what are you doing to develop a relationship with that new investor to shorten the amount of time it takes for them to invest?
Are you ready to skyrocket your investment portfolio and leave a legacy? Are you tired of inconsistent returns received in the stock market? Do you think it may be time to take a look at alternative investment options for your portfolio? Passive investing in multifamily real estate could be that option. With no tenants, trash, or toilets, providing a solid return on an annual basis that outperforms traditional investing, also receiving a monthly or quarterly return along the way. These lower risk and secure assets are a great hedge against inflation. If you want to learn more about these types of opportunities, you can email me directly to schedule a 15-minute consultation to see if you qualify. Just email me at mike@mikemorawski.com.
Yeah, that's a great question, because if you have an active raise that you're doing and you're bringing in new investors, you've got a close date, right? So I get on the phone with everybody. Everybody gets a personal phone call from me, and I walk through, because I want to, and I have turned people away. Trust me, I have turned people away and said, this is not the investment for you, or this thing here isn't for you. But I get on the phone, and you can only start building a relationship and trust by having a open-ended two-way conversation. There is no way around that. And you've got to put in that work. You just can't send out blast emails to 5,000 people, because you're going to get that quality of investor. And as a sponsor, do you want those type of people in your deals? Because they're going to be a thorn, the Achilles, thorn in your heel, or whatever that thing is, right? Yeah. But for me, when I'm having that conversation, I'm walking through, what are their goals? What are their understanding of investment? What things have they done? What does due diligence look like for them? And I'm an open book. I give everybody everything, and I've even had some investors do background checks on me. I'm totally okay with that. I have nothing to hide. But I think the only way that you can do that is by getting on the phone and having quality conversations with them. And sometimes I'm 2 or 3 conversations, before they feel comfortable. And I tell everybody, this has to be a good fit for you, and it has to be a good fit for me. And if you don't understand anything, then we need to seek to get to that ground of understanding, because I need to sleep at night. I tell everybody that I need to sleep at night. I need to know you're okay. You understand, you've done your due diligence. If there's something or some sort of help or information you need from me, I will go get it. But I think the only way that you can do that in a short period of time is getting on the phone. And I see a lot of, syndicators and people that are raising capital. They're just sending out blast emails, to their mailing list or doing social media. I've got this deal. I've got this deal. And I don't know, a lot of people don't get on the phone. And I only know that from talking to all the investors that I have and other sponsors, and then getting in on, deals, potential deals. And it's nobody ever gets on the phone with me. They just send me stuff from their email list.
Well, that's funny you say that. That's funny you say that, because I try calling people, and I'm always calling people. So, I have a couple lead magnets, and somebody can go download an ebook or go to a generic webinar or, do that. And I collect phone numbers and names and email addresses, but you call people and they don't answer the phone to me. And I'm to a point now where I'll call somebody, I leave a voicemail, I send them an email, and I do a video text right now, because I want, hey, listen, I just thought I'd drop by right now just to tell you what we're doing and see if we can get on the phone and talk about it a little bit.
Yeah. Well, my investor onboarding process is, if they don't get on the phone with me, they don't move past it, period.
Yeah.
So, because, whether you're doing a 506B or a 506C, I don't care. I want that conversation documented well. And I have a checklist of everything that I go down, and I document all of that. And then if it's a good fit, well, and if we're doing a 506C, well, then I'll send them to a third party, accreditation process. And then after that is when they move forward. So if they're not even willing to get on the phone with me, they're probably not a good fit for me, because I need to vet them as much as they should be vetting me.
I was just going to ask you that. You sound to me like you would have no problem telling an investor you're not a good fit. And because I know in my past, I've told investors, I'll say, hey, I don't think this is right for you. I don't think we're a good fit. And, people go like, what? But it's, I don't want to take somebody's money that I might have problems with later, because in this space, you are held at such a high level of transparency. And, people need to know everything. So I love that you brought that up. That was awesome.
Yeah, it's just so important. And like I said, I'm not in it to take people's money just to take their money. I can't sleep at night. So I have a process for vetting people. And that first process is getting them on the phone and having the conversation. And then it's moving them through the accreditation process. And then if they're willing to put the work in on their side and it's a good fit, after the call, well, then we can move into, getting them in queue for, the PPM documents or business plan or whatever. But nobody gets anything from me until they've been on the phone. And I have told people this, I don't think this is a good fit for you, and it takes them by shock. But again, I am here to solve people's problems, whether that be, they're trying to reduce their taxable income through investing, or they're trying to learn about investing, or, like with my other businesses, we do business process consulting, helping people solve problems is what I'm here for. I don't care about the money, because the money will come after you put the people first. And solve their problem.
Yeah, and I think on both sides of this conversation, everything that we're talking about goes really well, right? Whether you're vetting team members to be part of a team or them to be part of your team, or you are vetting that investor, or that investors, you're in that vetting process back and forth. I think that, they have to good character, good qualities, deep values, deep-seated values, and just be, there's a level of risk we all have to take at some point. It's kind of funny because I was looking the other day and I was thinking, man, when I had my old company, I had probably 7 people working for me that did all these job functions that today I have a team with 4 or 5 people that do those same job functions, but we all eat what we kill, right? Back then you paid everybody, but now everybody has more of a vetted interest, so to say.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
what are you working on these days?
I am working on my consulting firm. So I just released a coaching and training program around Lean Six Sigma. And so I am doing live teachings and taking people through projects concurrently with the training as it relates back to their business practice or whatever. And so I am trying to build that group up because I love teaching, I love coaching, and I love that discipline. I have over 12 years in that, and I just love that discipline. I love real estate too. So, we're working on some things there. I don't have anything active yet, but that can change.
Yeah, good for you. Good for you. How about what do you project for over the next 6, 12, 18 months market wise? What do you see happening with the economy? Yeah, there's so many doomsday experts out there today, right? What do you?
Yeah.
I know you've been doing this a long time and you're well studied. So, what do you think?
Yeah. So I think we got interesting times coming up. I know here in Montana, we're starting to see home prices, single family home prices, fall. I'm also seeing a ton of building. So, and I think that is, real estate is very cyclical, that, and there's specific phases. And so I think we're getting ready for a dump. I don't know when, maybe another 6 months, 12 months, who knows? You can't really time that market, but it is impossible for the market to continue going up with everything else that we have going on with our fiscal policies, from a country standpoint and even at local levels. Jobs are not where everybody thinks that they are. I don't trust the government's data. I hope this is okay to say all that, but I don't trust the government's data because you can go anywhere and there's help wanted signs everywhere. So there's a difference between, the numbers that they report and the real economy. And I think the real economy is showing us something different. Things are not where they were. And I think we have a lot of bubbles right now, not only in real estate, but crypto. You've got the feds that, came out this month with their payment system. There's something like 30 countries that have joined BRICS now. The EU has their central bank digital coin they're trying to roll. I mean, everybody's trying to do everything. So I think there's a lot of bubbles, and I think we just need to wait and see what's going to happen. I know for me and a lot of my investors, there are some good deals. Don't get me wrong. There are some good deals, but I think everybody is positioning their capital to sit on the sidelines right now, because if you've been through any of these cycles, you know what's coming. It's a playbook that has repeated several times over. And if you remember 2008, 2009, people were positioned well, did very well. And I think there's going to be a lot of opportunities. And just like Bitcoin, everybody bought it at 60,000 and then it dropped below 30 and it's probably going to go down to 5. You're going to lose a lot. So, there are good deals to be had right now, but I think you really, really have to use your discernment and your good penciling skills to see if they make sense. But I know for me and a lot of my investors, we're waiting on the sidelines because we see the opportunities that are going to be coming up.
Yeah, I think there's some blood in the water, that's for sure. And probably well spoken on some of that, but here again, we're such a resilient country, right? The word you used in the beginning. I think that, we bounced back. And, as much as you have all these naysayers, and the government's scratching their head right now saying, the job reports are up, things aren't slowing down, builders are still building, permits are being pulled, and we'll raise interest rates again to try and slow this down. It's funny, as I heard Sam Zell on a podcast, and he just passed away recently. Who Sam Zell is with Equity Office.
Yeah.
He said, somebody asked him on the podcast, hey, if you were running or doing Jerome Powell's job, what would you do? He goes, well, I'm not available. At first, I thought that was classic. But then he goes, I'd do a 2 or 3% interest rate hike. He goes, they're going to get there eventually. Just do it and get it over with and slow it down. I think because we're so resilient, though, we've gone from those sub-3 interest rates to 5, 6, and 7 now. And there's still motion out there. So, it's just interesting where we're at right now. I don't know if anybody's got a good story around it.
Yeah, I don't think so either. And we're coming up on an election year, which is going to be a whole other factor that's going to go into this whole fiscal policy thing. So
welcome to the circus.
Yeah. So I tell people all the time, just get your house in order. Whatever that means to you, get your house in order, because I think we're going to have some turbulent times coming up. And those that are prepared and are, it takes a lot to wait through that season, right? But I think that there will be a lot of opportunities. I'm not a big stock market player. I did option trading for over 20 years. But I even think in the stock market, there's going to be some opportunities when everything dumps out. So again, being resilient and being patient while you're waiting in this season, doing your homework, learning, listening to people like you on your podcasts, and just gathering all of that intel and waiting for the opportunities, because those that are just blindly throwing money at stuff for the last couple of years or even now aren't going to have that cash flow and equity when those opportunities do present themselves. And again, it's very cyclical, and most of the money is made at those downturns.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, thanks for being here today. I appreciate you.
Yeah, I appreciate you too. Thank you so much.
What do you want people to know?
Oh, what do I want people to know? That I am fun, resilient, and I am a savage queen.
Awesome. That's great. Okay, a couple bonus questions. What is the best book you've ever read?
I would have to say The Purple Book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Okay.
And then second to that is going to be The Creature from Jekyll Island.
Okay.
Awesome.
I heard somebody else mention that book once before. I should probably read that.
Oh man, it's a game changer.
Favorite food?
Favorite food? Chocolate. Well, let me take that.
Is that a food or a vegetable?
I don't know. Maybe chocolate. I think it's actually like a spice. I'm going to say steak. I like a good steak.
Good for you. Hence living in Montana.
Yeah, and I'm actually getting a quarter of a I don't know, heifer or a cow or something. So it's all grass fed, and yeah, my dad and I are going to have meat for probably 2 years. It's something like 200 pounds, 225 pounds of meat. I don't know. So it'll be a first for me, but I'm excited.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
You'll have to have a party.
Yes, I'll invite you, and then you can come to Montana.
Make sure it's not snowing.
I know you love the snow.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for being here. It's been great. How do people get a hold of you, Michelle?
Yeah, absolutely. So they can go to my website, michellekimbrough.com, and I think you have it on the banner below. It's got everything from my training and coaching, my consulting firm, my investment stuff. I've got free downloads on there. I got a free download to my book that I co-authored last year. I even got a really cool video of me sinking 500 miles off the California coast, failing water. So there's lots of fun stuff on there if you want to learn about me and grab some tools that are going to help you.
Wow, how'd you get out of that one? That's a story for another podcast.
Yeah, so it was a Black Hawk helicopter mechanic and a wetsuit. And we could talk about that at another time. But yeah, talk about innovation. Because in those situations, nobody's going to come help you. We were too far away from the Coast Guard. There were no fishing boats. The Navy's not coming. So you either fix it or you're getting in the raft. And we fixed it.
Well, good for you. That's awesome. Hey, thanks for being here. I appreciate you. Good to see you again. And certainly look forward to continuing our conversations. Everybody, thanks for being here this weekend. And enjoy your weekend and make whatever you do